So I'm going to be showing you today how to cut out for your tail panel. Now this way I'm doing this, you can keep your stock 79 trunk latch. That's what I'm doing here. I actually got it held to the little lip here. The factory 79 gas tank might have to be replaced. I'm not 100% sure. This gas tank is rusty and they're cheap enough. I'm just going to put the correct gas tank on this. There will be a video on that, so stay tuned and get subscribed. But let's go ahead and show you how to cut your tail panel on this side to make it look like this on this side. So I will have a video uploaded on fitting this, and then later on, once we get everything cut out and fitted, this tail panel and everything, I'll have a video on welding it all together. So definitely stay tuned and get subscribed for that also. But let's go ahead and start in this. First thing you want to do is test fit your panel. That's what we did. And you will have spot welds on this channel right here. You will need to drill out all the way across here and pull the old tail panel off the car, the 79. So let's go ahead and remove this. So I'm going to put some gloves on because I am working with sharp metal and I don't want to get cut. But this stays. This is spot welded on. This is the factory tail panel right here. And you pretty well got a connection for the drip well here. And it sits on top of this section. You want to come down a little bit right here where it connects, where it starts. And just cut straight across the top of this till you get right here. This piece will stay. This piece is pretty well onto your latch. You can see right here. You want to keep that. That's what your new tail panel is going to sit on, so you can keep your factory trunk and everything lined up. You want to come over here, cut that top drip well off. Once you get into it, you understand, guys. You can see where we cut it right here. You cut that. The next step will be you need to remove this section. Now I do have a full video on that, the link in the description of removing this. We actually put drop panel repairs into this. But once you get that started, you do have some spot welds down through here will need to be removed and cut. If you look down through here, they're very hard to see, but once you get into it, you will see the spot welds. Here's a couple, but those will be cut out. And you want to pretty well cut this out and peel this section of tail panel off. And if you can see, this whole side here comes out. And up here on this panel, underneath this, you will need to cut on the edge of this lip, just like so. If you look, we done cut this side. It's ready to be installed. But just watch and enjoy of me hacking this car up. Now you have a few choices for this: cut off wheel, saw. It don't matter what you use once you get it done. And always wear your safety gear, glasses and whatnot. I'm going to use a combination of a saw, body saw if needed, and a cut-off wheel on a power grinder. Okay, that's all opened up now, because we will be spot welding this panel here and here, because we can actually cut up at an angle here and not touch any of a stock support, because I plan on keeping that. With that being said, it's time to get cutting. We're going to cut straight across here and here, just like we did the other side, and get it loose as far as we can. When you get to this part, you do got a couple of spot welds underneath here, but sometimes you can break them loose. You can drill them, but it's also got a lot of seam sealer that will hold you. So get somebody to help hold this steady, but you can twist that. That is actually a piece of seam sealer that had us. Just see how tough that was? And if you do bend this up a little bit, no way, you can hammer and dolly it back out. But this is actually fiberglass right here. So I'm going to grind that out and patch that later. But as you can see, we have got the spot welds drilled out here and cleaned up, and here cleaned up. That's the drop panel we installed. We got all this clean. We need to trim this up now, straighten it back out just a little, and then get to removing this section. On your trunk latch part, you want to cut evenly to the end of your spot welds. You don't want to cut into them because we want to keep the structure here for the stock trunk. So just trim it up. That way the tail panel will fit nicely. And then clean all your edges up. Be sure not to get cut. This side of the trunk you probably have to do by eye, but you can use tape and measurements and stuff. But if you cut in to anywhere, you can always weld the crack back up. You know, it's a good thing about a welder. But we're just going to trim this by eye, same way we did here, and then grind these edges smooth like we did down there. Now, if you didn't read the description, or if you didn't get it in the first of the video in the subtitle, this gas tank has been empty for a few years now. But if you do got a gas tank on your car and you go to do this, be sure to remove your gas tank because fumes is extremely flammable and dangerous. This is how I did mine. My gas tank is empty. As I stated before, it has a hole in it. That's how come it's getting replaced, you know. So go ahead, after you cut it out with a saw, switch to a grinder disc and clean up all your edges. Make it look kind of nice. I'm also going to go one step further and hit all this rust here with a wire brush and some rust converter and other coating. So we're removing the lower valance, and you can see I done got a lot of it removed. One of these helps. I grinded the spot welds. One of these should just seal them off. So this is what it looks like with all the edges cleaned up and the bottom valance removed. When you remove that, you will have to drill your spot welds out. They braces here and here that hold your gas tank that spot welds to, that valance part, and it spot welds to the upper part of the trunk too, up in here. It was not that bad to get off. The one that was on this car was rusty out. You could just trim it and leave it, but I decided to just remove it completely, get rid of all that rust. Now I do need to build a section right here. The frame extension needs patched just a little, but I'm going to show you how it looks now. So there's a marker that goes here, and you will have to trim this out just a little bit where its trunk latch goes to get to that backside bolt. So you can mark that with the tail panel centered up on both sides. You can see we're pretty well centered with a hole, but you can do your measurements to get it perfect because you don't want this off center. So this is the side panel. It's dropped down quite a bit. I just got these loose. It needs pushed up, and it's pretty dead nuts on, guys, once we get everything situated. So I'm going to play around with fitment and then get back to you and trim that little spot out. It's not welded in. There's still some stuff needs to be done to it. I went ahead and trimmed everything. We can now get our marker lights in for the license plate. Well, the license plate lights, plenty of room now. We trimmed that. Inside the trunk, there is a gap, but you will have to build this and then spot weld it to the trunk and seam seal it. Well, spot weld it to the tail panel and then seam seal it up. That's about, I don't know, a 6-inch gap. Maybe a little bit closer once we get everything welded into place. But yeah, this ain't simple. I mean, to do this exactly the way it should be done, you need to replace your trunk pan and stuff because the 70s got a longer trunk pan and everything. But that's a lot more fitment issues than just doing it this way, because you have to line the trunk up and then your outer tail pan and everything. You can put 4 quarters on this. Now these patch panel quarters will need a lot of work. As you can see, they are not a perfect fit. We got this gap here too. All this will have to be made and fabricated and then body worked in. But all in all, it's coming along. I'm very happy with it. Low cost. You know, it ain't super expensive doing it this way. But always do your research. This is how I'm doing this cars. Don't mean you should do yours this way. But, you know, it's working for me. It might work for you. So, hope you enjoyed this part of making the tail panel fit video. If you got any more info on how you did yours or any suggestions for anybody, leave a comment. And check out my cutting the panel out and making it fit video. Should be in a link in the description. So thank you for watching.